This Sunday on episode 36 of on Dependency, where every life is a biography.
When you plant an apple tree, it don't bear cassava. If you sow a mango seed, you wouldn't get peach.
Time and time again, when children or youth run afoul of the law, you, the citizen, has said that parents should be held accountable for their children's actions. So who do we blame for Natasha De Leon's journey to death row?
I was incarcerated at the age of 18. I was then convicted for murder at the age of 20.
Or should a mother be held responsible?
What I like is about Tasha saying to me, "Mommy, I forgive you."
Let's talk about it this Sunday from 10 a.m. Listen live on I-95.5 FM or watch live on the on Dependency Facebook page or YouTube channel. On Dependency. We don't just share stories, we change lives.
Children crying, oi, 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 all over the world. The children crying, oi.
This Sunday on episode 36 of on Dependency, where every life is a biography.
When you plant an apple tree, it don't bear cassava. If you sow a mango seed, you wouldn't get peach.
Time and time again, when children or youth run afoul of the law, you, the citizen, has said that parents should be held accountable for their children's actions. So who do we blame for Natasha De Leon's journey to death row?
I was incarcerated at the age of 18. I was then convicted for murder at the age of 20.
Or should a mother be held responsible?
What I like is about Tasha saying to me, "Mommy, I forgive you."
Let's talk about it this Sunday from 10 a.m. Listen live on I-95.5 FM or watch live on the on Dependency Facebook page or YouTube channel. On Dependency. We don't just share stories, we change lives.
Children crying, oi, 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 all over the world. The children crying, oi.
Media release. Minister's permits ready for collection for registered Venezuelan nationals in Trinidad and Tobago. The Ministry of National Security wishes to inform that the first batch of minister's permits for Venezuelan nationals in Trinidad and Tobago, who applied for renewals under the Migrant Registration Framework between June 21 and August 11, 2023, will be ready for collection during the period September 4 to 8, 2023. The reference numbers of these ministers' permits are posted on the website of the Ministry of National Security and can be accessed via this link and social media pages. Ministers' permits are to be collected between 8 a.m. and 2 p.m. at the Enforcement Unit, 135 Henry Street, Port of Spain. Persons will be required to present a form of identification, passport or cedula, a police certificate of character, and their previously issued registration card, minister's permit. Registrants will be further advised on the Ministry's website when the second batch of ministers' permits will be ready for collection.
Comunicado de prensa. Permisos del ministro listos para colección para venezolanos registrados en Trinidad y Tobago. El Ministerio de Seguridad Nacional desea informa que el primer lote de los permisos del ministro, para venezolanos en Trinidad y Tobago, quienes solicitaron la renovación bajo el marco de registro para migrantes, entre el 21 de junio y el 11 de agosto de 2020, estarán listos para recoger, durante el periodo del 4 al 8 de septiembre de 2023. Los números de referencia de dichos permisos del ministro, están publicados en el sitio web del Ministerio de Seguridad Nacional, y se puede acceder a ellos a través de este enlace, y las páginas de las redes sociales. Los permisos del ministro, deben ser recogidos entre las 8 a.m. y las 2 p.m., en la unidad de control, número 135 calle Henry, Puerto España. Las personas deberían presentar alguna forma de identificación, pasaporte o cédula, y su carnet de registro / permiso del ministro previamente emitido. A los registrantes, se les informará más en el sitio web del ministerio, cuando la segunda jornada de los permisos del ministro estarían listos para recoger.
Cappy, talk to you now, boy. Got a small work for you to do. You make a quick 10 G's. We go do for me.
10 G's? What's that how I do this, boy?
What you doing? Taking your boat, run up the islands, pick up some people and then bring them back here for me. That's all you have to do.
That's something like human trafficking, boy. That's a serious crime. I can't make that.
Trafficking in human beings is a serious violation of a person's human rights. It violates a person's right to freedom of movement, freedom of choice, freedom of speech, and freedom of identity. It is a heinous crime which affects local, regional, and international peace and security. A victim of human trafficking is subjected to many types of abuse. The crime destroys a person's dignity and self-worth. Victims often feel hopeless, are suicidal, and are stigmatized in their communities. Child victims are deprived of their rights to education, play, and social interactions. They're essentially robbed of their childhood, and that can never be regained once those years have passed. If we do little or nothing to fight against human trafficking in our country, we can face economic sanctions from international agencies and partners. Our country will be losing money. Doing little or nothing to fight against human trafficking will tarnish our country's international image and, most of all, the value we place on human life. Human trafficking is no respecter of persons. Anyone can be a victim. So let us all strive to safeguard human life and dignity in Trinidad and Tobago.
We are the Counter-Trafficking Unit of the Ministry of National Security, Trinidad and Tobago, safeguarding human life.
This Sunday on episode 36 of On Dependency, where every life is a biography.
When you plant an apple tree, it don't bear cassava. If you sow a mango seed, you wouldn't get peach.
Time and time again, when children or youth run afoul of the law, you, the citizen, has said that parents should be held accountable for their children's actions. So who do we blame for Natasha De Leon's journey to death row?
I was incarcerated at the age of 18. I was then convicted for murder at the age of 20.
Or should a mother be held responsible?
What I like is about Tasha saying to me, Mommy, I forgive you.
Let's talk about it this Sunday from 10 a.m. Listen live on I-95.5 FM or watch live on the On Dependency Facebook page or YouTube channel. On Dependency. We don't just share stories, we change lives.
Children crying, oi, 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 all over the world. The children crying, oi.
On Dependency with Garth and Natasha.
Reality radio, at its best, where every life is a biography.
Sundays, at 10 a.m., and exclusively, on I-95.5 FM.
And streamed live on the On Dependency Facebook page and YouTube channel.
Another clear indicator that the heart of the matter, this little TV gangster was lacking in nurture. Cause no youngster who is shown to love and taught to value his life, not picking up no knife and no gun to have people on the run. Children need love.
This Sunday on episode 36 of On Dependency, where every life is a biography.
When you plant an apple tree, it don't bear cassava. If you sow a mango seed, you wouldn't get peach.
Time and time again, when children or youth run afoul of the law, you, the citizen, has said that parents should be held accountable for their children's actions. So who do we blame for Natasha De Leon's journey to death row?
I was incarcerated at the age of 18. I was then convicted for murder at the age of 20.
Or should a mother be held responsible?
What I like is about Tasha saying to me, Mommy, I forgive you.
Let's talk about it this Sunday from 10 a.m. Listen live on I-95.5 FM or watch live on the Eye on Dependency Facebook page or YouTube channel. Eye on Dependency. We don't just share stories, we change lives.
Children crying, oh, 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 all over the world. Children crying, oh.
Eye on Dependency with Garth and Natasha.
Reality radio, at its best, where every life is a biography.
Sundays, at 10 a.m., and exclusively, on I-95.5 FM.
And streamed live on the Eye on Dependency Facebook page and YouTube channel.
Good morning, Trinidad and Tobago, and welcome to Dependency, right here on I-95.5 FM, live on the Dependency Facebook page and YouTube channel. Good morning, Natasha.
Good morning, Garth. Good morning, Trinidad and Tobago, and thank you to everybody who's tuned in on I-95 and on our YouTube channel and Facebook page and Instagram Live.
Yes, and we are not with a delay much this morning because, again, we're going to attempt again for you to learn something today. We have back in studio with us Natasha De Leon and her mom, Mary De Leon. Good morning, folks.
Good morning, God.
Thank you very much. Of course, Mr. Egad is here with us. Mr. Steele will join us in a while. And, of course, an officer on duty here with us this morning. Folks, this program sparked a lot of conversation last week. And I've come to the realization that after 21 years, independency by some people is still not understood. We have adopted the approach, if you know there's a channel on television called the Discovery Channel, then there's the Learning Channel, then there's BBC Outlook. We have fashioned independency in that nature. If you all have not noticed, well, I'm letting you know that today. There are those who've been loyal with us from day one. I know you understand the focus of independency. The focus of independency is to teach so we can learn something from it. And it's a prevention program. So when we bring people to interview them, it's not to condemn them, it's not to judge them, it's not to support what they did and ignore the victims. Their story, hence our line, where every life is a biography. A biography does not begin at the end. It starts at the beginning. And with Natasha and her mom, there is a beginning just like everything else. So, I think that we reiterate our focus and the plan that we had for independency when we started. We're going to, after this break, we go to a quick break. Shortman lineup video B. Just to refresh some of your memory, Natasha and I visited Wandsworth Prison in the UK. And in front of that prison, I did a stand-up. Just 1 minute, 58 seconds. And it was reporting on a Tobago national who was extradited for the purpose of killing people in the UK. And when I say killing people in the UK, I always say to people who choose to sell or traffic drugs, whether you send it over, you post it, or you give somebody to carry it, or you do it yourself, you are contributing to killing people in another country. I know we just see the money, but what you're doing really is contributing to put poison on the streets of another country. This is what this young man did. And he was extradited, taken to Wandsworth, and we had the privilege to visit Wandsworth and interview him. So you'll just see us stand up after this break. And Natasha and I, we were younger then. Natasha even had a ras.
We were much younger than that. Was back in 2009. So that's over.
Natasha had a rasta hairstyle them time.
Yeah.
That's how far back we have been trying to educate Trinidad and Tobago. So the people in studio here this morning, They have a lesson to teach Trinidad and Tobago. There is cause and there is effect. The cause is on my left, and the effect is on her left. Accompanied by Mr. Garth and Mr. Steele and the Trinidad and Tobago Prison Service, we bring to you another lesson here today.
Before we cut to the break, Garth, could you reiterate the song that people heard at the start of the show?
Yes, the song the Kaiso that you heard at the start of the program is yours truly, who did that, written by Gregory Ballantyne. And you heard Natasha name mentioned in it. Since then, I've been trying to teach Trinidad and Tobago. Since then, 94, around there. Since then, I've been trying. And of course, that calypso went over people's head again. But here we are today, Trinidad and Tobago, and Natasha De Leon is in studio with us. So let's go to this break. During this break, if you know a Venezuelan migrant, someone waiting on their registration card, there's some information during the breaks that you will hear, courtesy the Ministry of National Security. The Venezuelan population who listen to us too, we'll have a version for you in Spanish as well. Let's go to that break. We'll be back with today's program.
Media release. Minister's permits ready for collection for registered Venezuelan nationals in Trinidad and Tobago. The Ministry of National Security wishes to inform that the first batch of minister's permits for Venezuelan nationals in Trinidad and Tobago, who applied for renewals under the Migrant Registration Framework between June 21 and August 11, 2023, will be ready for collection during the period September 4 to 8, 2023. The reference numbers of these ministers' permits are posted on the website of the Ministry of National Security and can be accessed via this link and social media pages. Ministers' permits are to be collected between 8 a.m. and 2 p.m. at the Enforcement Unit, 135 Henry Street, Port of Spain. Persons will be required to present a form of identification, passport or cedula, a police certificate of character, and their previously issued registration card, minister's permit. Registrants will be further advised on the Ministry's website when the second batch of ministers' permits will be ready for collection.
Comunicado de prensa. Permisos del ministro listos para colección para venezolanos registrados en Trinidad y Tobago. El Ministerio de Seguridad Nacional desea informa que el primer lote de los permisos del ministro, para venezolanos en Trinidad y Tobago, quienes solicitaron la renovación bajo el marco de registro para migrantes, entre el 21 de junio y el 11 de agosto de 2020, estarán listos para recoger, durante el periodo del 4 al 8 de septiembre de 2023. Los números de referencia de dichos permisos del ministro, están publicados en el sitio web del Ministerio de Seguridad Nacional, y se puede acceder a ellos a través de este enlace, y las páginas de las redes sociales. Los permisos del ministro deben ser recogidos entre las 8 a.m. y las 2 p.m., en la unidad de control, número 135 calle Henry, Puerto España. Las personas deberían presentar alguna forma de identificación, pasaporte o cédula, y su carnet de registro / permiso del ministro previamente emitido. A los registrantes, se les informará más en el sitio web del ministerio, cuando la segunda jornada de los permisos del ministro estarían listos para recoger.
Hola, my name is Elena. Well, it's actually not my real name. You don't really care, do you? All you care about is once you pay your money to my boss that I look pretty, smell nice, smile for you, and let you have good time, enjoying yourself and doing to me whatever you want to do for the money you paid. What you don't see or know is that I don't get any part of the money you paid. My boss takes all of it. I am forced to work, taking as many clients as my boss tells me to. I am beaten, made to take drugs, and I cannot leave this kind of work on my own. I am a victim of human trafficking. Please, por favor, help me.
On Dependency, with Garth and Natasha.
Reality radio, at its best, where every life is a biography.
Sundays, at 10 a.m., and exclusively
on I-95.5 FM.
And streamed live on the Eye on Dependency Facebook page and YouTube channel.
And thank you for staying with us.
Thank you for staying with us.
Natasha De Leon just cannot get over that Tom is blind. But Tom is a perfect example of you can do it. Yes, what's your excuse? You know? I'll be more nervous than Tom behind that board. And I could see. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Dependency if you're just joining us. Let's go without more, let's go to that video. Video B short, man. Let's go to that. This is the roots and foundation of Dependency. This is what we try to let you all know what we're all about from since then. And some of you missed it.
Yep.
Let's go
we
to it.
apologize for the audio, but the video does have captions. So if you're looking online, you'll at least be able to read what Garth is saying.
Yes. Let's go to it.
As usual, we just came from visiting with Mr. Owen Alfred. As you know, Owen Alfred was one of the men extradited from Tobago, who is now housed at HMP Wandsworth until today, because now, as we speak, he is packing up his belongings and he's heading out to HMP Parkers. That's in the Isle of Wight, where another prisoner from Tobago, or the other gentleman from Tobago, if you will, is housed at the moment. So we to get to for the price of one, because we have to speak with Mr. Austin more before we head out and head back to Trinidad. And we were shocked that we came here today, because he is packing up to leave, and he's sad, they all the opinion that he's a model prisoner, and it's hard to see him go. And you can actually see and feel the sincerity in the voice of the governor and two members of the staff. There's a little sadness that he's leaving. So it's really instructive to know that a prisoner can leave Tobago and come all the way to Wandsworth, London, and impress to the extent that they seem sad to see him get transferred to another prison. However, as the saying goes, out of evil cometh good, and we don't know, maybe he will be able to go down now to the Isle of Wight, that's where Parkers is, and transform the lives of prisoners down there too. So we are hoping for the best for Owen Alfred. But in the meantime, we will wrap up here at HMP Wandsworth, and until we meet again, which should be at HM Parkers, we bid you farewell. Garth, Sinclair, Natasha is behind that camera there, and say bye-bye. Talk to you again soon. Take care.
Right, so that was the first one that you'll see Natasha's before we wrap up. And that's what basically, we didn't hear us say that the British government wicked, and they have no right to lock up the man. You didn't hear us support what he did. We brought you a story. And that was our first foray out of Trinidad and Tobago with a biography of a citizen of Trinidad and Tobago. The guy was from Tobago. So, Natasha, without further ado, let's get into our interview and see if we can now guide Trinidad and Tobago to understand the issue of cause and effect.
Yes, and as the promo said, we often, when we hear about children and youth getting into trouble, we often want to place the blame on the parents. So we were wondering if the same does not apply across the board, because given the age that Natasha was left to fend for herself, the age at which she committed the crimes, the age at which she went on death row, and spent the last 20 years behind bars, how much of an impact did her parent have on where she ended up? We heard Mary's story before. We know that she suffered some losses and could not cope and turned to drugs to cope, right? And that is what led her to abandon her family in that way. So let's now talk about, to Natasha now, about how she managed to cope behind bars at that young age. We spoke a little bit about the death row experience and that you were kind of in an out-of-body kind of experience. You couldn't believe that this was what was taking place. But tell us a little bit more about what you were thinking and feeling while you were waiting to be executed, basically.
Well, in that kind of way, honestly, I kind of like suppress a lot of the emotions because it was something very traumatizing to deal with, and knowing the weight.
Mm-hmm.
Because, how should I really say it? Every day you wake up and you realize the years just rolling by, and 1 minute saying that they're coming to hang you, and they, for some strange reason, they did not. Well, at that day.
Mm-hmm.
So it's every day the waiting game, and I was actually privy to hear over the radio when they was hanging the old JD. They had it on and they were hanging the guys, and they told us that they wasn't sure if it was coming to read us as well too. So I was just like, I don't know, like numb, scared, and
And you were the only woman on death row at that point?
I thought about 3 or 4 of us. I was the youngest, actually.
Right.
Actually, I was in the youngest in the institution as well too. And with the other ladies and them, they were about in their 40s, 30 something, and I tried to, well, the day when they were dealing with Dolce D, I'll be honest with you, I ever feel like inside was actually cold. I realized that fear on its toll, I really have a feeling, and, it was actually like that. I felt, I know that I was genuinely, other than being scared, I was genuinely sorry, because at the end of the day, life was lost, and it's not something God didn't give us the opportunity to take lives or anything of the sort. So
you have remorse, and you before I bring Miss Agard in, you have remorse for what you did, Natasha?
Yes, that at the end of the day, I don't want to, I can't go into, I want to apologize first and foremost. I know plenty of you might thinking that why she can't go into a matter, but I can't because of circumstances right now beyond my control and because of the court at present.
Ms. Agard will explain that.
Yes, I
Go ahead.
cannot, right? But what I would say is that I am genuinely sorry, and I'm not asking persons to say that I'm looking for pity or not, because generally speaking, I have made peace with myself and God for how much years, it's 30 years, it's not now.
Right.
And I cannot, and I would not come and try to put on a mask and try to be weepy and stuff. I can't, because for me to reach the stage that I am today is a lot I've been through, and people may not understand the work, but you struggle, just be real, and you just go through a phase where it's a conscious decision to change your life, and the journey don't be easy because you will encounter a whole lot. My spirituality took a different turn whilst on death row. I did not find God one time because unlike some people say when they now come in prison, yes, people just go to God. But for me, it was a spiritual struggle on the whole, because I couldn't grasp the spirituality foundation until eventually, as I said, there were a lot of officers who were effective in that regards to give me that opportunity to try to find that inner peace and make me come to the awareness, Natasha, despite of what, yes, you were young, yes, you made mistakes, yes, your mom make mistakes in the past, I can't keep blaming everybody, but I take responsibility, because at the end of the day, God just didn't give us the opportunity to say, you were deserving to take this life. That is not my calling. And for that, I am genuinely sorry. And if I could turn back the hand of time, I know that I would not make the same mistakes that I've made in my life, whether mommy messed up or not, it doesn't matter either way. I just want that to be officially clear, because but I am, and I've written to, there was this time that some years ago, I wanted victim family had written to me. They had sent an address of something. The lady was some Cuba or something. God At first I don't remember, but she had given the information to one of the former, no, not former, present. Actually, the information only reached to me through certain other officers who was present. And I remember writing a letter to some Dul something.
Right.
But I know the place was somewhere in Cuba or somewhere. I had written about 2 letters. And I wrote them and I told them, I said, I understand that I came to the Queen's Park Savannah. That time I was singing when the prison happens, calypso competition and stuff. And apparently, from what I understand, they came to the firm asking for me. They went to Federal Street Prison at first and they told them, and I don't know how they get to find out I sing. And when they went, unfortunately, that year I didn't attend. And they ended up giving them my address for me. And when I got the information, eventually it took me 3 to 5 years for me to get the paper eventually. I don't know why it takes so long, but eventually I did get it. After that day that they visited by the Savannah, and I took pen to paper a Sunday, a letter form, and I wrote. And I tried to tell them, I said, I don't know, I know you don't know much about me, but the mere fact that you actually came and they say that you had forgiven me, I really want to say thank you. And this is something that I've been looking forward. I've always wanted the forum to say that I am sorry, but never got it.
So I remember one of the families reached out to you to say they forgive you.
Yes, and
wow, I didn't know that.
I wrote a letter. I will never forget. I sit down this Sunday, and I told them, I said, this letter, for some strange reason, I only got this paper. It took 3 to 5 years from the last time that you came, and I hope and pray that you're alive and well, but I don't know who you are, but I thank you, and so on. So on. I said it to Paul as much and tell him how sorry I was, and and I never got back a response, so I don't know if the letter
ever reached them,
or if it ever. I can't say, but I know what I did.
Well, I'm glad you're saying that publicly here today, because if the letter did not reach them, at least they know that you did respond, and you appreciated their effort.
It's some way I don't. God,
yeah, but that's okay. Don't let that worry your head. But Ms. Agard, could you elaborate on why Natasha and someone did a dastardly deed last week? And I'm just hoping that you learn from this, because I know you're listening this morning. Why is it, Natasha, as a prison officer, you can tell us there are certain areas she cannot go into because?
Well, to the best of my knowledge, Garth, good morning to Trinidad and Tobago, that once your case is before the court, it's suggested or advised that you don't talk much about your case.
Right.
Now, Natasha everyone knows what Natasha did, the crime that she has committed.
It's public knowledge.
It's public knowledge. But for now, just because her matter is before the courts, they would suggest that she does not really venture into it.
And that's understood. We know that about other things in Trinidad and Tobago, so that's understood. So it's not that she's trying to be evasive or anything, or even proud of what she did, but, we were just speaking about forgiveness, Ms. Agard, and I am so happy to hear this, that this family actually reached out to Natasha, and I've seen countless of videos like this on YouTube where a mother stood in court to testify, to give a victim impact statement when just before a guy was sentenced for killing her son. And she said to him, I cannot hate you, I forgive you for doing this, because you're young, my son was young, you all make wrong decisions. And the mother was able to forgive. So, Natasha, I'm really happy to hear that, and I know how that probably not lifted all the weight off of you, but it lifted some.
It did tremendously, because I would like to meet them actually face to face. And God, sometimes, as I said, listen, being behind prison, this has taught me one thing. Now when I hear people say they want justice, I don't get upset. Because now that I am behind bars, I understand people say that they want revenge and I could understand, because to say, when we was outside and something had happened, you will say you want the same thing too, because but things end up being so ironic after, I am in prison, and then my son came and he died in 2021. And the circumstance in which he had died, he didn't die natural cause, he died by somebody killing him, and so nobody was found for that. And as a parent, I realized that I can't even hold on to resentment towards the persons I had to see stay in the same way that I forgive them. They were never arrested, but I do forgive them, because, people may say that, so okay, we're supposed to just go around forgiving every time I commit an act or do something. I'm not saying that. But because of the fact that me being incarcerated and for man being on this side of the fence, it makes me realize that it's only human nature for it to feel that level of resentment and hatred and whatever you may want to feel. I understand because it's a human emotion which is given. But at the end of the day, I know that being behind prison and you come and you end up in these situations, is either you learn, it either make you or break you. And I choose to make me become a better individual. As I said, if I given the opportunity and I could be face to face to say, yes, I am genuinely sorry. I don't know how else to put it, but God know my heart. Man may judge me on the outside, but God know my heart. I have already come to terms and made peace with myself, and I've made peace with God. I have always been trying, and maybe it took me 30 years to get this forum, to actually be here today, to actually be able to say that I'm genuinely sorry. I remember when they used to bring Power 102 in the prison, and all how I tried to get on Power 102 to say I am sorry, I was never given the opportunity because I was afraid that I might say something contrary, right? But I don't know, I say God, He saw it fit to come here today, and I guess this after 30 years, journey and the labor was hard, but yet still I was still able to, at least if I close my eyes tomorrow, at least I know peacefully I did openly say that I am genuinely sorry for the pain and the heartache that I've caused, and not just the victim, but society on the whole. Because when you break the laws of the land, despite of what, everybody is affected. And as we say, it automatically creates a domino effect.
But Natasha, you mentioned something there, and I wanted to pick up on it. What is your perspective as someone who is incarcerated? What does justice mean to you?
Justice?
Yeah.
Whew.
That's a tough one. Because we all have our concept of justice, as you mentioned. Some people think justice is vengeance.
All right. From the world that we're living in, right? I'm taking it from behind somebody who behind a shuttered small window, right? We may be adults, but majority of times we love to cast stones and say, well, this person bad and this person this, right? But I learned in this life, for some of us, justice is retribution. Justice is torture. Justice is not stopping with a punishment until that person actually become dead, right? But I honestly believe that we all make mistakes. None of us is perfect. And yes, some of us, we have a tendency to judge sin as big sin and little sin, and this person do this and your crime bigger than the other. And I honestly believe that, to me, justice is forgiveness. Plain and simple, because why I would say that? In life, whether it's family members, friend, whoever, we will be dealt unjust things. Unjust, unjust, either way, because you might say something to me and it may hurt me. You do not commit a crime. But you don't know me. But you start casting aspirations, so you might start saying bad. So then what make you be justified?
No, Natasha. And if you're just joining us, folks, you're listening to Dependency, of course, and we are speaking with Natasha De Leon, and her mother, Mary, is also in studio with us, and we have from Rise Maximum Radio, Officer Agard and Mr. Steele. I hope he could show his face before we wrap up this morning. But we are having a conversation with someone who we can learn from, or two people we can learn from. Because, as I said before, there are a number of Marys and Natashas out there still. And if you're going down that road, this program here this morning is for you to change lane. It's as simple as that. Let me reiterate. And for those of you just joining us on YouTube, thank you very much. And remember to like and subscribe while you're there. And after this break, we're going to come back with Mary a bit. And because Mary and I was just discussing something, and there's a thing we did on this program called generational curses. And Mary and Natasha now hoping that the domino can be pulled out so that it wouldn't continue from generation to generation. That's the idea. Because even Natasha's, and I have to bring up in this, Natasha's family, they too were affected. Her daughter was affected in trying to settle in life she was victimized because of who her mother was. That's the society that we live in, unfortunately. You know, Natasha's daughter trying to become a police officer or prison officer or fire officer or work in the public service, I think should be embraced rather than condemn her for wanting to go a different direction as her mother.
Correct. Because she is an individual. She's not her mother.
Exactly. But the society that we live in, we are gods too. We love to punish.
Yep.
So her daughter got punished for who her mother is. I mean, it happened with Natasha and I. Natasha Nunez. Her mother was Hazel Brown. People hate Natasha because of her mother.
Correct.
Hate us because that was my mother-in-law. That is the level of intelligentsia we have at certain quarters in Trinidad and Tobago. Natasha didn't make her mother made her. We'll be back after this break.
Media release. Minister's permits ready for collection for registered Venezuelan nationals in Trinidad and Tobago. The Ministry of National Security wishes to inform that the first batch of minister's permits for Venezuelan nationals in Trinidad and Tobago, who applied for renewals under the Migrant Registration Framework between June 21 and August 11, 2023, will be ready for collection during the period December 4 to 8, 2023. The reference numbers of these ministers' permits are posted on the website of the Ministry of National Security and can be accessed via this link and social media pages. Ministers' permits are to be collected between 8 a.m. and 2 p.m. at the Enforcement Unit, 135 Henry Street, Port of Spain. Persons will be required to present a form of identification, passport or cedula, a police certificate of character, and their previously issued registration card, minister's permit. Registrants will be further advised on the Ministry's website when the second batch of ministers' permits will be ready for collection.
Comunicado de prensa. Permisos del ministro listos para colección para venezolanos registrados en Trinidad y Tobago. El Ministerio de Seguridad Nacional desea informa que el primer lote de los permisos del ministro, para venezolanos en Trinidad y Tobago, quienes solicitaron la renovación bajo el marco de registro para migrantes, entre el 21 de junio y el 11 de agosto de 2020, estarán listos para recoger, durante el periodo del 4 al 8 de septiembre de 2023. Los números de referencia de dichos permisos del ministro, están publicados en el sitio web del Ministerio de Seguridad Nacional, y se puede acceder a ellos a través de este enlace, y las páginas de las redes sociales. Los permisos del ministro deben ser recogidos entre las 8 a.m. y las 2 p.m., en la unidad de control, número 135 calle Henry, Puerto España. Las personas deberían presentar alguna forma de identificación, pasaporte o cédula, y su carnet de registro / permiso del ministro previamente emitido. A los registrantes, se les informará más en el sitio web del ministerio, cuando la segunda jornada de los permisos del ministro estarían listos para recoger.
The government of Trinidad and Tobago, through the National Task Force Against Trafficking in Persons, continues to develop and implement effective policies and procedures to prevent and suppress human trafficking. To date, the National Task Force has developed 2 national plans of action against the crime of trafficking in persons. Trinidad and Tobago adopts a 4-pronged approach in its response to human trafficking. 1. Effective identification of victims and witnesses. 2. Prevention of human trafficking. 3. Protection of victims and witnesses. And 4. Prosecution of suspected traffickers. In the Ministry of National Security, we established a specialized unit called the Counter-Trafficking Unit to lead and manage Trinidad and Tobago's response to human trafficking. The Counter-Trafficking Unit works closely with the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service, the Immigration Division, and international law enforcement agencies to aggressively and proactively investigate and prosecute suspected human traffickers. Human trafficking is a serious crime. Rest assured, the government of Trinidad and Tobago and its agencies remain committed in the fight against human trafficking and will respond with immediate effect when the need arises.
We are the Counter-Trafficking Unit of the Ministry of National Security, Trinidad and Tobago, safeguarding human life.
Eye on Dependency with Garth and Natasha.
Reality radio, at its best, where every life is a biography.
Sundays at 10 a.m. and exclusively on I-95.5 FM.
And streamed live on the Eye on Dependency Facebook page and YouTube channel.
Thank you for staying with us. This is Eye on Dependency. We are speaking with Natasha De Leon and her mother Mary, as well as Officers Agard and Steele downstairs. We are talking about, well, Natasha De Leon's, her life, as we say, every life is a biography. Thank you to those of you who are joined on Facebook and YouTube and Instagram. But before we jump to Mary Garth, I just wanted to share, since we are talking about justice, to share the definition of restorative justice and to share a little bit about how it differs from the punitive system that we employ in Trinidad and Tobago and in the Western world. So restorative justice refers to an approach to justice that seeks to repair harm by providing an opportunity for those who have been harmed and those who take responsibility for the harm to communicate and address their needs in the aftermath of a crime. So it's those who have been harmed, those who have taken responsibility for causing the harm, to communicate with each other, to address what their needs might be, because both sides will have needs, right? So in the criminal justice system that we employ, here's how it's different to the restorative justice approach. So in criminal justice, crime and wrongdoing is committed against the state and is a violation of the law. End of text, right? You do a crime, the law says it's a crime and prescribes punishment. That is what happens. The restorative justice approach says crime and wrongdoing causes harm to individuals and communities. So it is not a crime necessarily against the state, but an individual and a community, and in many cases, families. The restorative justice approach acknowledges that crime impacts on people. So it's a people-centered approach. In criminal justice, it seeks to determine guilt and to impose punishment. So you've broken the law, you've committed a crime, we have to determine who is guilty, who is the guilty party, and punish them. Restorative justice is concerned about repairing the harm, as I said earlier, repairing the harm caused by the crime and the wrongdoing. So it's not just about determining who's guilty and how they should be punished, but seeking to repair the harm for what has been done. Criminal justice excludes people impacted from the justice outcome. And this is a question I was planning to ask Natasha, and one that I asked Andrew when he came a couple of weeks ago, is if during the trial, the process of determining guilt as the criminal justice system demands, was there any opportunity for the people who were caused harm to communicate with the person who is now before the court to determine his guilt and his punishment? Was there any communication between those two parties? And in your case, either there was none.
Were they in court before you were sentenced? The day you were sentenced, were they in court to give a victim impact statement?
No, I don't know if they were in the court, but no, nothing like that took place.
That didn't happen. Right. So in the restorative justice context, the people who are most affected by a crime or wrongdoing should be key to the resolution of the harm caused. So nobody's asking victims, what do you want to happen to this person that we have deemed to be guilty of harming you, or who has taken responsibility for harming you? What would you like to see? How would you like them to be punished? How will their punishment absolve the hurt and the harm that they have caused you? The victim is often nowhere in the picture, and that is how it differs from the system that we currently employ, because the system that we currently employ is about punishment, it's about retribution, and it is about imposing punitive measures on the person who has been deemed to be guilty.
Thank you, Natasha. Mary? Now, last week I spoke about cause and effect, and I said that Natasha is sitting here in this chair going back to prison after this interview because of where it started. It didn't start with her. But then you have a story to tell as well, because you have had your experiences. Now, I'm not asking you to go into that today, but do you understand why I said that Mary too has the burden of responsibility for this journey of Natasha De Leon?
Of course. I am aware that I have my issues. I had my issues. I don't have any issues anymore, thanks God. Because today I just let go and let God. So I don't really have issues, and I being real, I don't have issues.
Now, there are people who, just like they did me, they will do to you too. They will say, you sure she stopped using cocaine? You sure she's using cocaine still? And
yeah, well, I mean, I expect that. I mean, you do a million good things, and nobody remember one thing bad, and nobody forgets. So it's not about who feel like smoking or who want to feel like smoking. I know I'm not smoking, and I'm very happy and I'm very blessed today to be sitting here next to, well, where I am in this radio station. I think I'm, God knew the journey. I walked the journey. God knew the journey, and He pulled me out. I got deliverance. I surrender, and I got deliverance, and I am happy with that. And I hope that people who sitting outside there and want to judge and want to feel that they know and they know it all, they have to remember that life goes on, and you don't know where you would reach. Today for me, tomorrow for you. That's life,
You had your childhood too as well was a little rough, right?
Yeah, I had a terrible childhood. I mean, and I grew up with my grandmother. God bless her soul. It was the best grandmother that ever lived. She was blind, and she tried her best. I grew up with a deaf grandfather, blind grandmother, and I know they tried their best, but they couldn't supervise me in the way that I was supposed to be supervised.
What happened to your mother and father?
My mom and dad never lived together. I think maybe they just had an affair, and I was the outcome of that affair. And my mom migrated. She had other kids. I mean, they look nothing like me. They,
different fathers.
With fair skin and straight hair and that stuff, they looks nothing like me, But apparently, God rest her soul, maybe she had mistakes made along the way, And I guess sometimes they say children grow what they learn. Maybe, it must be something, it must be a domino effect that go from way back, right? But whatever it is, that is all past. That's gone, that's forgiven. My mom died, and I forgive my mom for whatever happened. I forgive my dad for whatever happened, because he had his family, she had her family, and my brother and I grew up with grandmother and grandfather. One was blind, one was deaf, no supervision, and things escalated. I was taken advantage of sexually, a lot of different family members, and, things I went through, strangers, I went through things. Today that maybe impact the way that I live my life right now, presently. Anyway.
This what you're saying there, who my mind run, Natasha, Hanif Benjamin. Because he's one person always speak about
that
trauma, childhood trauma, passing on from one generation to the next. And again, folks, we are not trying to justify or support or rationalize why anything at all. Again, listen to the message. Because it's all about that journey from childhood, from cradle, as we say, from cradle to the grave. And how do you all plan now to break the cycle? Maybe your daughter could do it, Natasha. Just bringing her in there for this part. Maybe she can do it, and so far she's doing well. But you all now have to start here to rebuild a relationship here too.
Oh, we started long time. We started long time, you know. We started long time, you know, because yes, I was not there at the beginning when my daughter got first incarcerated. I was caught up with the drugs. Over the years, I try my best. I get up, I fall, I get up, I fall long, I get up, I fall, I get up, I fall. And until I start to understand that this ain't just about you, you know, Mary. You know, you need to have a better spirituality in this. And you know, this is when I accepted the word. I would say I accepted the word. I accepted Jesus Christ. I accepted, you know, I come to that understanding, and from that day to now, you know, I don't pray. I don't stop pray. I pray morning and night. I don't stop. You know, every day I get up and I ask God for everything. I pray for everything to keep me clean. The suffering addicts outside there, the recovering addicts. Today I do that. You know, and it's all about that.
Mr. God, you need to stick anything here before we go back to Natasha?
No, I liked what Mary said, because we all know about generational curses. We've heard that from in the Bible, and it's not easily broken. And you know, the first step for me, because I grew up that way as well, is put God in this situation. Because if you don't have God in this situation, it's not, to me, I don't see it working out. So God must be the center of everything. So here, and you saying that, you know, that you're praying and you ask God, you know, all the time for forgiveness to help us, to help my family break it. And I believe with prayer, prayer works everything out. Yes, yes.
Could I just make a small input here? You know, as you're on the topic of generational curse, it's ironic because I remember the first time I had written a book, I'd read a book from a pastor in Arima. And that man, don't even know, I've never met him, but his book was called Generational Curse. And I don't know, I think I went to the library, I brought us downstairs, and the officer selected a book. I don't know why this particular book, Generational Curse. And when I read the book, all that what contributed to my spirituality, because it made me realize it was the first time I became aware of the word generational curse. You know, you're hearing about transfer of spirits and all them different things, but it made me realize that, you know, it's something deep. You know, and this is not just about murder and drugs and things. You know, sometimes we realize that even might be sexual abuse, maybe simple thing like cursing, it could be stealing, either way, whatever it may be, and how it actually starts from like this root, and with the root it starts growing up this tree, and with the tree starts spreading a branch, and then from there it starts taking leaves, and you know, and we're not realizing it, and then sometimes we have children, and then children, and then the Bible talk about the third and fourth generation, and go down and go on, and it's not until we have that spiritual insight to break it and how to go about breaking it, and that book is what actually gave me the strength and know how.
So then, what part of your sentence now, when you were taken off of death row, now you spent 13 years on death row?
Yes.
That alone is...
I was supposed to only spend 5 by the Pratt and Morgan.
Yes.
Right.
That's torture in and of itself.
That's itself mental torture. However, when did you decide, okay, let me know, we met you when you auditioned to be an announcer on Rise Maximum Radio.
Yes.
That's when we met.
You want to talk about my spirituality?
When did you, because you settled down now, you started to do studies and...
I started studies actually, got from since on death row. They told me while I was on death row that as a death row prisoner, you would not be able to sit exam and you would not be able to do this. And I, as a person, I don't know if I get that from mommy, but when I set my mind to say, you know, I like greatness. I believe that there is more to me than what the eyes can see. Right. I believe that I can do all things through Jesus Christ to strengthen me. And even on death row, I was head bent on showing them that, here what, if I will be the first death row inmate to go and do exams, and I will pass. So there was this former officer came and they will come and they will tutor me, and I insist, and I will sit down on a bed in that cell with a pail, a bed, and 4 corners of the wall, and I'll keep going it over and over, just because I insisted, and they keep saying, I want to see you all that studying, you're studying, you're not going, and I insisted, I say, you know what, I want to show you how God going and open his gate for me to go and do this exam. And I was studying for history and English and stuff, right? And of course, you will get all different negative impacts, just the same when somebody supposed to be supporting you for something good and constructive. And I went, I proved it to them in the morning. They came and they told me to get dressed. I got dressed, and they told me I'm going to do the exam. I went, and you know, the people who were getting tutored downstairs, because remember, I'm condemned. Nobody's allowed to come in the area where I am. And the persons who were getting teachers, you know, programs and everything, they didn't pass. I was the one who passed. I top it, you understand? And, you know, I wanted a distinction, but unfortunately, I didn't get a distinction, you know. But nevertheless, I did pass. I got a 2. I got a 2 in history. I got a 2, you understand? And, you know, I jumped for joy because I was like, hey, if I could get through with this and I'm upstairs and death row, you know. So it made me wanted more, and I strived towards getting more. And after that, I said, you know what? If I could do this upstairs and death row, you know, when they came and they told me, well, Natasha, you know, the paper came and they said, you are no longer that condemned inmate, you are now going down the population. I'll be honest, I was really scared because remember, this is 13 years living by yourself, not nobody around you. Mm-hmm. So they see that process to come now to tell me you're going to put me among people. I didn't know how to function with that, you know, because they did a fire drill once and they say that, you know, they normally handcuff us. So when they take up the handcuff and they say, they had to run outside. I've been honest with you, if the building was building, I was going back inside because I was heading right back because the amount of inmate I see running towards me, remember, all the years, I am by myself. So how you letting everybody run at me? You know, so I started to run back towards the building and the officer had to come and grab me and bring me back outside. I said, Natasha, I can't run back to the building, you know. But I was scared, you know, because, and you might say, but you get off of that. It wasn't that, you know. You see that process of everybody being around me, everybody in my space now. I just start to readapt now, right? And then come
because
back down to
look at it, it's like you were living in a
like
cave.
a hermit,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
look at simple thing. If look, this thing's serious, you know. Look at simple thing. Like I remember after being as a given a life sentence, and I'm downstairs now. I mean, I will fight. I didn't want not fight physically, but fight mentally because I didn't want to put on the white dress because you know you normally have to wear white, right? And I remember even when mommy them came and the officer say, Natasha could get up to hug your mother. I was stiff because I like, but that's so far in my mother to hug me up. It makes you, it's like a loss. It's like, and people don't understand. It's like if wasn't for God, I'm not going to deny him because it's only he, nobody, no mommy, no daddy, no auntie, uncle, not even you got, not nobody couldn't understand the trials and tribulation, the torment, how it is be, what it is. Right? But it's only one person could keep it there in a mental sane capacity is only God, right? And that's why I will give him the glory. I ain't have no shame in that game, right? And what I would say is that I remember I sit in there and I say to myself, Natasha, if you could pass, if you could go through all of this and God still keep you and he make you do this, then I wanted more out of life, more. And believe you me, I guess when we come back, you will hear what programs department in the women's prison had done for me.
You taking a break for us? Yeah?
That's what I realized.
Because I had to get some
the radio.
That's the announcement.
That's the rise instincts kicking in.
Yeah. That's the announcement. I understand.
Yeah.
No, but and then we have that video shot, man. Thank you so much. We found the video too. So Natasha, before you take us to a break, Natasha, you said something there that. It's so powerful. You were living in a cave literally at one time, and you now had to come back out. You were sharing your own space. You had your own, your own stuff by itself. Nobody did interfere with you. Nobody. All of a sudden now you have to switch from that to readapt to go live with people. Were you accepted by the inmates though?
Yeah, well, ever since, I don't know, we become our favorite. Everybody like, Natasha, I'm like, who's that? Who's that? You know what I mean? But nevertheless, people, the inmates, for some strange reason, where the mere fact that they know you're up on death row, sometimes they'll pass and they can't see us, but they will still call out and say, Natasha, how you going? You all right? I'll say, yeah. Well, whoever calling me, you know me, I always guy smiley, I always smiling, right? Even in the face of adversity, I learned to find that inner peace, as I said. So I'm normally, I'm very outspoken. Normally, I would not lie. I'm very outspoken, and I love to laugh. I really love to laugh, you know. So people, that I guess probably is that, I don't know, maybe everybody be more supportive as such. If I could give somebody a good word somewhere, I try my best to do so. That's the best I could do.
If you're just joining us, you're listening to Independency, and before Natasha take that break, we want to thank the prison service too, because you have to have a commissioner who believes in restorative justice, and to let Natasha and other inmates out who we've interviewed here before,
yes,
to come into a studio in Civilian Life and tell their story. That had to start with the commissioner.
Yes, it does.
And the programs department.
And present. Yep.
Yes, several and present. We have
Yes.
to thank Mr. Wilson, we have to thank Mr. Sterling Stewart.
Oh God, yeah, my fathers too.
Yeah, these are the people, it started Mr. Husbands, Mr. Roger. That's the journey started with us. You wanted to add that?
Yes, God. This has been going on for quite some time. I've been in the prison service for about 12 years.
Right.
And the programs and industries department, I would always have to boast about them because they do a lot. So not only do getting the opportunity to come out on the radio, there are opportunities where you know that they go out and sing. There are opportunities where they go to school and do motivational speaking as well.
Yes.
So there are all projects that the programs department are doing for all the inmates, to go out into society, into the open, and talk, because many of times, Natasha, we went to the square at Port of Spain and Sawa as well. So many times they get that opportunity to go out and showcase what they can do.
Yes.
So the radio station is just one, but there are many other opportunities as well.
And we'll speak to Ms. Haramuta in a while. Could you take us to a break, please?
And we will take this break. You're listening to Independency. And I'm Natasha De Leon alongside with Garth, St. Clair, and Natasha Nunez with Miss Igad and Miss Mary De Leon. We will come back. Keep it locked.
Number one.
There you go.
The sentence of death was passed upon me. I battled the fears that plagued my soul, whilst my spirit cried out for my family and God. Anguish oozed like tears of blood upon my cheeks. Amid the chaos, I yearned to escape. My nerve grew taut and seethed like lava. Wretched screams echoed in the corners of my mind, hurling my equilibrium within the belly of hell. Yet somehow, I escaped with my life unscattered. 13 years I wandered aimlessly in the dark, without the knowledge of restoration. Overwhelmed with terror for my future, the hangman noose trapped me in a game of Russian roulette. My emotions seek refuge from deep within, even though it felt like tapping. But invigorated by the will to live, I, Natasha, rose from the ashes like a phoenix bird and nurtured my mind with the truth of restorative justice. This gospel of restoration altered my character the moment I took responsibility for all my actions. In an authentic way, I mastered the inner changes. This made me establish the factors of restorative justice by seeking to bridge the gaps between myself and hurting victims. I took strength by the process of reconciliation. This removed the scales of betrayal and ravished my mind. The manifestation of this penal system and transformation, they introduced me to the power of mediation, a major source for independent development. When accompanied by positive feedback, that generated a satisfying feeling. Restorative justice aimed at repairing harm done to victims, enabling me to openly declare that guilt is removable through repentance and reparations when taken into consideration. Thank you.
Media release. Minister's permits ready for collection for registered Venezuelan nationals in Trinidad and Tobago. The Ministry of National Security wishes to inform that the first batch of minister's permits for Venezuelan nationals in Trinidad and Tobago who applied for renewals under the Migrant Registration Framework between June 21 and August 11, 2023, will be ready for collection during the period September 4 to 8, 2023. The reference numbers of these ministers' permits are posted on the website of the Ministry of National Security and can be accessed via this link and social media pages. Ministers' permits are to be collected between 8 a.m. and 2 p.m. at the Enforcement Unit, 135 Henry Street, Port of Spain. Persons will be required to present a form of identification, passport or cedula, a police certificate of character, and their previously issued registration card, minister's permit. Registrants will be further advised on the Ministry's website when the second batch of ministers' permits will be ready for collection.
Comunicado de prensa. Permisos del ministro listos para colección para venezolanos registrados en Trinidad y Tobago. El Ministerio de Seguridad Nacional desea informa que el primer lote de los permisos del ministro, para venezolanos en Trinidad y Tobago, quienes solicitaron la renovación bajo el marco de registro para migrantes, entre el 21 de junio y el 11 de agosto de 2020, estarán listos para recoger, durante el periodo del 4 al 8 de septiembre de 2023. Los números de referencia de dichos permisos del ministro, están publicados en el sitio web del Ministerio de Seguridad Nacional, y se puede acceder a ellos a través de este enlace, y las páginas de las redes sociales. Los permisos del ministro, deben ser recogidos entre las 8 a.m. y las 2 p.m., en la unidad de control, número 135 calle Henry, Puerto España. Las personas deberían presentar alguna forma de identificación, pasaporte o cédula, y su carnet de registro / permiso del ministro previamente emitido. A los registrantes, se les informará más en el sitio web del ministerio, cuando la segunda jornada de los permisos del ministro estarían listos para recoger.
Cappy, talk to you now, boy. Got a small work for you to do. Make a quick 10 G's. What you gonna do for me?
10 G's? What's that how I do there, boy?
What you doing? Taking your boat, run up the islands, pick up some people and then bring them back here for me. That's all you have to do.
That's something like human trafficking, boy. That's a serious crime. I can't make that.
Trafficking in human beings is a serious violation of a person's human rights. It violates a person's right to freedom of movement, freedom of choice, freedom of speech, and freedom of identity. It is a heinous crime which affects local, regional, and international peace and security. A victim of human trafficking is subjected to many types of abuse. The crime destroys a person's dignity and self-worth. Victims often feel hopeless, are suicidal, and are stigmatized in their communities. Child victims are deprived of their rights to education, play, and social interactions. They're essentially robbed of their childhood, and that can never be regained once those years have passed. If we do little or nothing to fight against human trafficking in our country, we can face economic sanctions from international agencies and partners. Our country will be losing money. Doing little or nothing to fight against human trafficking will tarnish our country's international image and, most of all, the value we place on human life. Human trafficking is no respecter of persons. Anyone can be a victim. So let us all strive to safeguard human life and dignity in Trinidad and Tobago.
We are the Counter-Trafficking Unit of the Ministry of National Security, Trinidad and Tobago, safeguarding human life.
On Dependency, with Garth and Natasha.
Reality radio, at its best, where every life is a biography.
Sundays, at 10 a.m., and exclusively, on 95.5 FM.
And streamed live on the on Dependency Facebook page and YouTube channel.
All right, thank you for staying with us, folks. Those of you just joining us, you're a little late, but we are speaking with Natasha De Leon, and she's now about to get into. She took a star break, and we'll be back now. Those of you on YouTube, remember, please like and subscribe to the channel. Remember, we've been warning you about this. Please like and subscribe to the channel. Also, we have a fundraiser coming up to showing the film at IMAX. This film, Sound of Freedom. Those of you who are interested in tickets, please, we're going to start, before you wrap up, we'll give you a little more information. But the Sound of Freedom will be shown at IMAX in collaboration with our Dependency, IMAX, the counter-trafficking unit, and we'll give you more detail on that. But we want you to come and see the Sound of Freedom on 24th and 25th September. We'll tell you how to apply for tickets. Tickets $120, and because it's a fundraiser for us and the survivors of human trafficking under the care of the counter-trafficking unit. So we'll give you more information on that as we go along. But let's go back to Natasha. Natasha, you were just about to help us understand certain things about you were speaking about the programs, you know, what they did for you. And
continue to do.
Now listen, God, there's a list here. And that's why I say I have to boast, in the programs department. So since Natasha has been incarcerated,
yes,
well, she did radio broadcasting. Mm-hmm. She did upholstery, food preparation, management, office administration, healing through hair, data operations level, plumbing, cosmetology, life skills, speaking with confidence, mentoring, dance, business startup, craft for life, garment construction, information technology, evangelism, explosion, anger management, fabric design. But I'm just take a breather here. Newsletter for the prison, the editor.
Wow.
Poetry, tutor for conversational Spanish. Now, she can speak Spanish fluently. So if she starts up here now, she's going to show off. History, inmates development program, barbering, so she can give you a haircut. Yes. English, she DJ as well. She learned that through the radio station. She also did drama for positivity. She did futsal. Futsal was
indoor football with Maurice Clayton.
Yes. Bible vocational studies. God, you really give me a lot here, boy. Treating with ageable people with beautification, women empowerment for better you, Minister of National Security, motivational speaking, and the list goes on. I left out a few because I don't have on my glasses here. So, but my point is, people have that myth to believe that in the prison it's just an open and close cell, 3 square meals, that's just it. Mm-hmm. So much things is actually going on in the prison service in Trinidad and Tobago, and we have to say the Deputy Commissioner of Programs and Industries, Mr. Caraspi, the Assistant Commissioner of Programs and Industries, Ms. Charmaine Johnson. They do a lot.
Yeah.
They do a lot, and the officers that they have with them. Programs is a busy place in the prison service. Yeah. So any person that comes into prison and goes back out without anything, the onus is on them. Because the opportunity is always there. It's always knocking. We will go upstairs, programs officer will go upstairs. Okay, so we are doing, we have this course, that course. Who wants to? If you are interested, you will actually get that opportunity to do it. Yes. Some people may not, for whatever reason they choose, but the onus is on them. So they can never go out and say that the prison service has not been offering them anything to do at all.
So
it's busy.
Right. So before we go back to Natasha, let's just play this clip with you and Miss Agard at the radio station.
Yeah.
Natasha, you want to set this up?
Yes, well, this is just a clip, a snippet of the work that Natasha does on Rise Maximum Radio, and alongside Miss Agard, they run a morning show.
And that's what's gospel?
No, it's not gospel. Natasha has...
it concluded a news report, so...
Or she was actually reading the news.
Okay.
Right.
All right, let's go to that and see
have news on RMR
what the prison... we talk about the prison and I can attest to that because I've been there this past week with Visual Mission again. And yes, the prison trying their best and doing their part to change our citizens so that when they return to society, which most of them will, at least they have a chance to work, to leave with some tools. Let's go to video A, short man, and let's see Natasha and Miss Agard in action. You're listening to Dependency right here on I-95.5, live on the Dependency's Facebook page and YouTube channel. Short man, you there?
Video A, please.
And in studio with us is Miss Mary De Leon, Natasha's mother, Natasha De Leon, who, again, and to the victims, I would like to say too as well, you know, as you were speaking while we wait on Shortman, and you know, we were speaking here just now, I saw a picture, you know, that sycamore tree project that the person did too as well?
Yeah, it's with Pastor Rajaram.
Right, and I remember that under Mr. Karaspi years ago that started, and it would be nice one day to have, because that's what it's all about, to have a victim and the perpetrator of the crime sit in studio here, and if the victim willing to contact us for that to happen, we willing to stage that, to host that program. But it will be nice. You see, once the victim forgives you, then so it will be easier for society to do it as well. But it has to, if the victim has to say, look, I understand now that I've heard Natasha's story. I understand where it started, I understand, and you know, it wouldn't bring back my father, but at least you didn't just wake up one day and decide, you know, to go take people's life for a living. It didn't start like that. Shortman, you ready for the video, please?
Studying music.
Natasha? Natasha De Leon?
No, don't understand what's happening.
Jesus.
Now, Natasha's been in the on radio for how long, Tasha? Probably about
From 2012.
2012.
Yes, 2012 when the
That's
station launched. Yeah.
Yes, right. But she's aware. She knows familiar. She's familiar with Garth, and you know, so reading news is something that she's accustomed doing.
Yes.
But you know, of course, when you go to read news, just be a bit nervous. As she rightly say, you make sure that there's no one there in studio with her to even smile, because you know she has a laughing. What should I say, a spirit? Because she's always laughing.
Yes.
But you know, since 2012 till now, Natasha has been a faithful person in the radio station. She always strives for excellence. As she rightly said, if she puts her hands, you know, her mind to do something, believe you me, she has to put her, she's making sure that within the first, any competition, the first, second and third place, she must fit in somewhere there. So she's always striving for excellence.
She's a Virgo.
No, I'm Aquarius.
Just like my mom. Yes, I know. Also very determined to serve, actually. To serve people.
In the meantime, what would you like to see happen for Natasha going forward?
Well, I would definitely like to see Tasha be free. First things first. Definitely like to see her be free. And well, God is not what I would like to see after that. You know, is what Natasha decide to do with her life, and I believe that she would do the very best. I am sure that she would do the very best, and with God's grace and support and my support, everything will be all right. Sure about that. Yeah, by the grace of God.
And what has you gone on to achieve, Natasha?
Well,
you can speak Spanish.
Oh gosh, yes.
Sí, claro.
Yes, claro.
So you and Natasha, you all could have a little conversation.
Conversation in Spanish is money.
Is what?
People pay you big. I mean, having a gift like that, Natasha, people know that it actually. And if we go to Colombia, then it's a fact we may be probably billionaires.
I mean, let's hear some Spanish.
Let's
hear a conversation.
Buenos días, Natasha.
Buenos tardes.
¿Cómo amaneciste?
Está bien. Estamos en el radio hoy y nuestros voces son transmite en el internet y tenemos una Lord Father.
That's English.
Dios mío.
Buenos días a todo el mundo. Quieren escucharte la programa ahora. Pero mi nombre te llama Natasha. Pero siempre yo deseo todo el mundo ahora, yo amor when amor con Dios, siempre yo creo en mi vida, yo creo en Dios, yo creo en todas bien en mi vida. Yo sé siempre, Dios sola controla todas. Entonces, la gente quiere sentir muy mal a veces con tu vida, con la situación. Pero yo siempre decir, por favor, Dios es siempre importante en tu vida.
God is always important in your life.
En tu corazón.
And your heart.
Siempre yo quiero tú guardar a Dios en tu mente. Pero es no
Always keep God
importante
in
cuando
mind.
la gente habla mal de ti. Es cuando tú ver en la futuro,
When you see in the future,
por favor,
please,
por favor,
please,
yo quiero tú escucharte mi historia.
I want you to listen to my story.
Esto es no mentira.
It's not a lie.
Pero todo pasó mal conmigo. Pero yo siempre creo en la Dios. Yo creo posible un día
She
yo
believes in
liberar.
God. Yes.
Yo quiero mi futuro muy bien. Yo quiero feliz cosas en mi
Want a
vida.
good future.
Sí. Por eso yo deseo gracias por tu ojos.
Thank you for your eyes.
Sí, thank you por
tus
todo.
orejas.
Entonces, sí, gracias.
Yes, thank you. I think I have a better Spanish to English translator than actually speaking it myself. That was very good, Natasha. That was excellent.
Wow.
Excellent.
I can speak a little bit
Wow.
of German, a little bit of French as well. But
Wow.
I'm still struggling
Wow.
on Duolingo.
You know, this and this is what restoration is all about.
All right, as we return the topic of restoration.
Just now, we have the video.
Oh,
Shortman,
okay.
go ahead
Shortman,
and play
yes,
the video
please
for
go
us,
ahead
please.
with that video.
Video A, before you run out of time, you know how time flies here. You know, so let's.
This is Kyle Saunders for Iron Dependency News. A mother of a convicted prisoner says she neglected her family for the use of drugs as a method of coping. Mary De Leon says what started off as cigarettes then became the more addictive substances. Speaking on the Eye on Dependency program on I-95.5 FM.
The one you told me I found, Shortman, with Miss Agard and Natasha in studio on Rise Maximum Radio. That's what I'm talking about. So if I say video, sorry, that is my bad. The one with Natasha and Miss Agard.
From last week.
Yes, the one from last week. Remember that one? And you told me you found it. So if we could get that one, where Natasha and Miss Agard did a news report from RMR. Yeah. And we'll show them that part of.
This is Kyle Saunders for Iron Dependency News.
Oh gosh.
And
Next we don't have that.
yeah, I hope that's the one you found. So Natasha, that was brilliant. That was brilliant.
See?
And you see this is what we're talking about, folks, with regard to restorative justice. And I said we're not disregarding the victims and what they experience. Natasha expressed her remorse for it. We are not here to anybody in Trinidad and Tobago judge people. I'm one of you. When I go to the prison, I'm welcomed by the inmates. I'm respected by them. And just Monday, I was at women's prison. I don't know how you went there.
I was upstairs.
But yeah.
Monday?
Okay. Yes.
Where was?
You went out?
I was upstairs. I know they told me that you came because when they came upstairs,
Yeah.
I was like, everybody, Natasha, Garth and Claire came and he talked about you. And I said, okay.
Yeah. So let's go. We have the video now.
Rise Maximum Radio News is brought to you by the Ministry of National Security and the Trinidad and Tobago Prison Service.
It's Friday, 25th August 2023. News is next on Rise Maximum Radio. First, the headlines.
3 injured in early morning shooting.
Truck driver charged with murder.
And passengers stranded at sea for 17 hours.
The details are up next. And with the news and details, I am Vanessa Ada.
And I'm Natasha De Leon. Good morning. 3 people had to seek medical treatment following a shooting in Levanton this morning. From initial reports, the incident took place at about 7 a.m. today in Levanton in the vicinity of Limer's Corner. Residents of the area heard multiple gunshots
and upon investigating observed 3 persons crying out in pain. One man appeared to have been shot several times, while another man and a woman appeared to have suffered injuries in attempting to run away from the gunmen. The injured parties were all taken to the Pottersfield General Hospital for treatment. The police were notified, and officers from the Interagency Task Force and the Besser Street Police Station responded and are continuing inquiries.
And in some other news, a 35-year-old man has appeared before Couva magistrate charged with the murder of a 75-year-old Lachlan Bikram, which occurred on July 8. Kellen Green, a truck driver of William Street, Couva, was charged with the offense when he appeared before the magistrate Alexander Prince at the Couva Magistrates Court. Bikram of Calcutta Road No. 2 Freeport was at her home on July 7 when she allegedly Bikram of Calcutta Road No. 2 Freeport was at her home on July 7 when she was allegedly beaten about the body and robbed by a male intruder. She was taken to the hospital for treatment where she died on July 8. Investigations were launched into the incident, which resulted in a male suspect being held on August 20th. The matter was adjourned to September 20th, 2023.
And some more news. A fire on board the cargo vessel MV Cabo Star stranded passengers at the sea for 17 hours in another major disruption to travel between Trinidad and Tobago. In the last 7 days, after 60 flights, some domestics were cancelled by Caribbean Airlines when 75 pilots called in sick last weekend. The statement said the fire started in the engine room and was isolated and extinguished by the crew in accordance with vessel emergency protocols. No injuries were reported. Newsday was at the Scarborough Port of Spain when the vessel docked at around 4 p.m. on Thursday, but the passengers declined comment, most saying they were tired and frustrated. They had spent about 17 hours at sea.
And news of the weather is up next. Now for a look at the weather, courtesy the Met Office of Trinidad and Tobago. For the period today until midnight, Trinidad and Tobago will generally be hot and sunny conditions despite a few isolated showers, mainly during the afternoon. Now there's a low 30% chance of isolated heavy or thunderstorm favoring the western hilly areas of Trinidad, mostly fair and warm at night. The forecast maximum temperature in Trinidad is 34 degrees Celsius and in Tobago is 32 degrees Celsius. Seas slight, waves up to 1.2 meters in open waters, less than other areas. Sunset is approximately 6:20 p.m.
And with the news completed, here are the headline once again. 3 ended in early morning shooting.
Truck driver charged with murder.
And passengers stranded at sea for 17 hours.
And that was on news at 10 a.m. on Rise Maximum Radio. I am Vanessa Ada Hector.
And I'm Natasha De Leon. Good morning.
You know what so feels so good about this? Wow. To know that legacy will always remain with Independency.
Yes.
That's our radio station we installed for the prison. Mm-hmm. That's the radio station, I should say, we installed for the prison. And now we have 2 people sitting in studio here with us. You just heard a report from that radio station. Here's, folks, you all understand where we're going here with this now? Wouldn't you rather our inmates, and thanks to the prison service, our citizens, excuse me, that the prison now is contributing to turn the lives of our citizens around? Or we just want them to be cockroaches and jailbirds for the rest of their lives?
That's the objective.
Which one we want? When we talk to you about refurbishing and changing the prison, you complain about if they want a hotel to live in, not understanding it's like officers like Agard and Steele and this officer in studio here who will feel the effects of the change of the prison conditions too as well.
Of course. And what that will lead to better relations and interactions between the prisoners and the officers. Everything, it will transform. The objective is to transform people in there because most of them are going to return to society. So
Wouldn't you like to hear a report from Rise Maximum Radio, or you can tune in, you can do that now, and Mr. God will tell us how you and the public can listen to them.
Yep.
If you want, you could join them and listen to Rise Maximum Radio on your own. But Right, Dr. Ramil could be part of the broadcasting landscape of Trinidad and Tobago in the next few years.
Yes,
Wouldn't you like that?
In the prison, gone are the days of newspapers.
Yeah.
You hear it live. We do news 3 times for the day, 10
Right.
a.m., 12 p.m. major news, and then we do it at 4 p.m. as well.
Very
so the
good.
news, we will go and make sure we get that research done, vet it, and then we'd have, no, it's just not Natasha and I, there are many other officers together with inmates, they do news as well.
Mhm.
So within that time, everything has to make sure, so research, so it's just like you come in, you have to come in for a particular time. So we are actually teaching them or training them, the workplace.
Yeah.
You have your
Function in a
punctuality,
newsroom,
how to
yeah.
function, how to dress.
Nice.
So they come, they get the news done, they are just preparing it. You always have to prep. So you will go and practice it, make sure that you pronounce it, the words properly, and then we'll go on air, and we'll do our things.
Well done, man. Well done, Trinidad and Tobago. Let's short man, let's go to video C now and see what we wanted for our prison system. Here, Natasha, describe what we saw at the facility we visited.
Yeah,
Let's go to
again,
that.
apologies for the audio.
Again, apologies for the audio because it was done outside.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Natasha, and Garth is behind the camera this time. We just did a tour of HMP1, which is the largest prison in the UK. It holds about 1,600 prisoners. Malcolm Lewis, who's the governor at Wandsworth, he took us on a tour. This is a huge facility with gyms and a lot of training facilities. There's bricklaying, there's tiling, there's sex offenders unit. There's a garden with all of the flowers that you see behind me are tended by the prisoners themselves, and they won several awards even for their work in the garden. And this facility has a lot of programs. Governor Lewis spoke about a drug treatment program which has 4 levels. Every prisoner as they enter Wandsworth has to go through an evaluation exercise for drugs. And then from there, if they are discovered to have a drug problem, if they are mixed to having a drug problem, they then go through a comprehensive drug treatment program which includes Alcoholics and Narcotics Anonymous, Crack Anonymous, which the first time we heard about that was the Crack Anonymous. And they have a comprehensive drug treatment program at Wandsworth, as well as other training facilities, training programs, educational programs, physical education and sport. They have the works. They have it here at Wandsworth. So we got a very quick but comprehensive tour by Governor Lewis, and we will hopefully be speaking to Audrey more in the Parkers later on this week. So until then, goodbye.
Right. Now, before we go back to the commissioner, we have him online. Shortman, play that clip again because we would have missed some of what Natasha had to say about this facility we toured. The commissioner will be listening, and I want to find out if that's his dream as well. What he will hear now from the prison that we visited in the UK. Shortman, let's play that clip again. Commissioner, hear this.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Natasha, and Garth is behind the camera this time. We just did a tour of HMP Wandsworth, which is the largest prison in the UK. It holds about 1,600 prisoners. Malcolm Lewis, who's the governor at Wandsworth, he took us on a tour. This is a huge facility with gyms and a lot of training facilities. There's bricklaying, there's tiling, there's sex offenders unit. There's a garden with all of the flowers that you see behind me are tended by the prisoners themselves, and they won several awards even for their work in the garden. And this facility has a lot of programs. Governor Lewis spoke about a drug treatment program which has 4 levels. Every prisoner as they enter Wandsworth has to go through an evaluation exercise for drugs. And then from there, if they are discovered to have a drug problem, if they are mixed to having a drug problem, they then go through a comprehensive drug treatment program which includes Alcoholics and Narcotics Anonymous, Crack Anonymous, which the first time we heard about that was the Crack Anonymous. And they have a comprehensive drug treatment program at Wandsworth, as well as other training facilities, training programs, educational programs, physical education and sport. They have the works. They have it here at Wandsworth. So we got a very quick but comprehensive tour by Governor Lewis, and we will hopefully be speaking to Audrey more in the Parkers later on this week. So until then, goodbye.
Right. So that was Natasha doing and giving you a brief synopsis of what we saw at HMP Wandsworth. Commissioner Ramuta, Diopusad
Blessed
Ramuta,
art
good
thou
morning to you,
among
sir.
women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus.
Let's not, hold on. Don't let us hear him in a while. Right. Commissioner?
Right. So the clip that, actually, God, unfortunately, I wasn't able to listen to the program earlier on. So ask me if it's a specific question and I can comment.
Sorry, Commissioner, we had a little break in transmission there and we missed the first part of what you said. Could you repeat it, please?
Oh, no, I said I was not fortunate to listen to the program this morning. So perhaps you can ask me specific questions and I'll respond.
So what I was saying is that, well, we have one of your children in studio here with us, Natasha, and she just told her life story alongside her mom. And we just played a clip of Natasha speaking about the programs that we saw. And I know you inherited something from Mr. Wilson and you're continuing with it, which is restorative justice with regards to programs in the prison and all of that. How happy are you with what you are seeing, and what more would you like to see to add to this, and what, to help our citizens return to society functional?
Okay, so Garth and to the listening audience, someone can only do the best with the resources available. Sometimes it is unfair to compare us with a first world country who has more or less unlimited resources. Countries like UK, United States and others, their resources are so in abundance. They have a policing department for abuse of animals, pets and so on. We all know this. And that's how well things that you can do when you have a lot of resources. Come back to prison conditions. I think I am satisfied with what we are doing given the resources we have. Yes, I have continued what Mr. Wilson and others would have done in the past. But when I came in, I saw that our major downfall is getting my officers on board with the thinking and the mindset of rehabilitation and putting focus on the second part of our role in the prison, is of reintegration. So we would have been training officers. Every month we do a training program with the staff members of the programs department. I, as the leader, would have been out there speaking over and over in the approach we should take with inmates, how we should consider inmates. I have even made some bold statements. I got criticized for it, but I can justify and back up everything I say. And the statement I'm speaking about is I had said one time that there are some inmates who are better than some of my officers. And yes, that's a provoking question, and it puts someone on the back foot. But I can justify what I said. I didn't mean all officers, and I didn't mean all inmates. Anyhow, having said that, my staff, we are focusing on being correctional officers. And correction or corrections not only has a dictionary meaning, it's a jargon that means a whole lot. It means it goes beyond security. Security should be given. There shouldn't be any brain power in security. And let me repeat that. We don't need any brain power in the security. That's black and white issues. We need brain power in change behavior modification for my staff and inmates. I can go down a whole emotional and intelligence discourse on emotional intelligence and having officers dealing with broken men and women and ourselves need healing. We wouldn't have much time for that now. So in a nutshell, I would say that my main focus is getting my officers to appreciate the way forward as regards rehabilitation. We have a motivational team caravan that goes around the schools and community. So we are slowly promoting and developing ourselves. Now it has to be slowly got and the listening public, because when things get very large, it can get complicated, take a life of its own, and the benefits are watered down. But in a smaller scale project, we can manage it better. So my motivation team comprises of inmates and officers who also give their life story. Natasha is part of that team. Andrew Douglas is part of that team. Melissa Thomas, Timraj Sahadev, and my officers, Vanessa, Mr. Igad, Mr. Steele, Mr. Baliram, they are both officers and inmates combined that promote the good work that the person has been doing, can do, and will do. To summarize what I'm saying, I think leadership is important. I have been speaking and demonstrating this to the wider public. It will take a while for all parties to get on board, but I'm forging a template for those who come after me can follow in that same direction. The feather in my cap, the motivation for me is that the majority of the inmates are happy with the way that the prison is going. If I can just get the powers that be to understand there are men and women who have been rehabilitated and need to be released from within our walls, from our holes, especially those like Natasha and others who have been with us 25, 30, and even up to 40 years now, who have been rehabilitated, fit for reintegration, and stood the test of time, have been tested by me. And as the prison is concerned, there are men and women who are fit and ready to be discharged. We need to go that distance so that the younger inmates in our system can realize, hey, this thing works. It can benefit my freedom eventually, but I need to get on board and buy into this program, God.
Commissioner, you said it all. You said it all. And we want to, expressly from Dependency here, from the Ministry of National Security by extension and Counter-Trafficking Unit, I just want to tell you, Commissioner, that who feels it knows it. And I understand how important it is to have a commissioner like you and people who understand this journey of restorative justice. So we want to thank you so much for being that support for this NGO and for this NGO, allowing this NGO and Dependency to be part of this journey of restorative justice. We thank you, sir. God bless you and the officers of the Trinidad Prison Service who understand this. And as you said, hopefully one day we'll elevate to correctional officers and correctional institutions. We thank you.
Thank you to that, and thank you, the Prison Service. Thanks you and all, and your radio program, and all those persons who promote the Prison Service and rehabilitation. Thank you very much.
You're welcome, sir. Take care. We'll keep in touch.
Yeah, bye-bye.
Okay, bye-bye. And we thank the judiciary too. If we have to put this in, Ricardo Stevenson is out on bail now after how many years? Yep. You know, almost 18 years in prison too as well. He's out on bail now. And we thank, finally, that he could have a little time with his family. And let's hope that this comes to an end. We could take some calls now, please. Yeah. We all can, can we?
Sure.
Okay. So we can take some call at 622-3937. Remember, those of you on YouTube, please like and subscribe to the channel. Please, please. Like and subscribe to the channel.
167 people watching and only 25 likes. We need to change that.
Yes,
and
let's
Facebook
go.
as well. We have 37 likes, but 99 people on the chat. Come on, you'll get a like.
Now, to the bar in Tobago, again, this is all part of our journey of Trinidad and Tobago, and we'll spend more time on this next week. You see, somebody was charged in the shooting of that bar in Tobago, but still it should not be that easy. That bar should still be closed, one, and which will send a message to all bars in Trinidad and Tobago about letting underage people into their clubs and the security that is lax. We do this too easy. Some blood spill in a club yesterday, 2 days after the club opened again. Really? So are we going to
make it? Come on.
Yeah, well, you see, we have to start valuing people more than the money. And I am asking magistrates to please, and police officers, when bar owners come to renew their license, go physically check their place. I don't know how it's done, but I hope that is part of it. Entrance, exit, security, you name it, and start sending undercover police to these clubs to see if they're letting in minors. and shut people down, start taking people license. This is how changes come, you know. This is how changes come. But we don't seem to understand that. You know, it is so sad. But we will give somebody bail for manufacturing crystal meth. Well, you're confusing me, you know. And I personally getting tired.
Yeah.
Hello, good morning.
Yes.
Let's take some calls.
Good morning, Natasha. Good morning to everyone in the studio. I'm glad I had to thank you and Natasha.
No, there's
for engaging in this matter. Hello. And to thank the Commissioner of Prison. I just heard him on the radio speaking, and I feel proud to know that he's trying to do his best. And you know, you guys and Natasha, what you guys doing, is very important. I listen from out there, and to know that heard that Ricardo Stevenson, who I know very personally, is out on bail, you know, and that is good. And I hope one day Natasha De Leon, and be out of prison and to continue her life, with her daughter and her family. And also, I thank you and God, and also the prisons commissioner and the other people who is involved in that. All right. So,
all right,
thank you very much.
Okay. Take care. Hello. Good morning. 622-3937. Good morning.
Good morning to the St. Clairs.
Morning.
Morning.
Miss Mary, Tashi, the officers, and the commissioner. Tashi Jill, I'm very proud of you. Like Meshach, Shadrach, and Abednego in the fire never get born. Daniel in the Lansden, John in the Belladuel.
Yes.
You are a success story, and may God blessings continue to follow you. All the best in the future.
Thank you.
One love, and keep on praising the Creator for life.
I will. Thanks.
And I keep saying to the victims, please, if you wish to have because we've told stories of victims here before, and you are no exception, reach out to us, and if you wish, and we will have a conversation with you too as well. Hello, good morning.
Yes, hi, good morning.
Morning.
Yes. High praises to you, Natasha. You're doing a very good job. After all the years, I think I've never met you, but I know you from the length of time you have been there, and just following your history. All right. So, firstly, in relation to what you had said just now, Mr. St. Clair, that is a serious issue with the bars encountering teenagers into their facility. Like even recently in Tobago, it had a 17-year-old who was shot and killed. Right? And that's a very serious issue that needs to be highlighted. Right? All right. So with that said, all right, let me get on to what I really want to say. So I am a past... Hello?
Go ahead.
Yes. So I am a past, an ex-convict, as I should say, who has lived the criminal life and choose to change, because I had lost a family member to the prison services also, right, to the system. She was there for 12 years, right, and it had destroyed my home, my family, and and now, after going through that phase, I am blind, right? And it was a criminal issue with my incapacitation. And in the general sense of what Natasha is trying to say, forgiveness. Even you, Mr. St. Clair, forgiveness is what we need to transform the minds of the future generation, as I should put it, right? And the people who, victims and criminals, people who indulge themselves in crime, criminal activity, in a sense.
forgiveness is what we need. That is the beginning of it all. Because I had chosen to forgive the people because I was once forgiven, right? And that is the destiny for change. That is the change mechanism, right? In going forward.
Thank you so much, my friend, and we wish you all the best too as well. Thanks for your
Thanks
contribution.
for calling.
Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, Garth. Good morning, Natasha. Greetings to you all. Happy belated independence. And to your very distinguished guest, Natasha.
Good morning.
Good morning to you, darling. Good morning. Greetings. I want to propose, as perhaps the first proposer, that Natasha be given on the occasion of the 61st anniversary of independence, and also what would be the 46th anniversary of Republic, that she be given a presidential pardon for her exemplary conduct displayed during her tenure at the correctional institution. I think she has not only earned it, she has and is deserving of a presidential pardon. Between now and Republic Day, it should be given to her. I want to be the first person, and I'm not talking about petitioning, I'm talking about proposing. Had I been the person who could have given her a presidential pardon, I certainly would do that tomorrow. But not having that authority, I am asking those who have the authority to grant to Natasha a presidential pardon for her exemplary behavior and conduct during the last period of her incarceration. That is my plea to you, Natasha, and that is my plea to the government to pardon her. She deserves it. She has worked for it. She is one who can now be an exemplar to others to follow. Pardon her, pardon her, pardon her. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Vidal. Mr. Rex Vidal, you're no stranger, no voice. You know that voice. And again, that's the sentiments of a lot of the people that we spoke with.
Yep.
I think Natasha now can be used as not an I won't say exemplar, but as someone who can now speak to young girls especially, and make use of her. We tend to discard our citizens too much. I have.
Once you reach any prison, that stays with you for life, and it robs you of many opportunities.
I have colleagues in Canada who work in the field, same field like me, and the state hired them. Some of them working for the police. When I say working for the police, the assistant police to recognize addicts, how to treat with them and all that.
You can't get that kind of work, not here.
Look. Let's go back. Hello.
Yeah, good morning.
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 Yes, I am wondering, I heard you all speak about forgiveness, and I am wondering whether the families of the people who Natasha killed, whether they have said that they forgave her. The reason why I'm interested in that, and maybe one family member might say yes, and some others might not. The reason why I'm saying that is because we don't want, if she is out if she's given this pardon and she's out, because I know it happens all the time,
You talk about
when
revenge,
they come
right?
Out, somebody,
yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So this is my concern right now. Thank you very much.
Oh, yeah, we understand.
That is a justifiable concern. But as we mentioned earlier, not only did Natasha receive a letter from one of the families that she caused harm to, but also the fact that victims are not often part of the criminal justice system. So they are not integral in terms of contributing their thoughts and feelings, and their needs are not expressed in the process, the criminal justice process. So it's very difficult unless they themselves are willing to share their stories and to contact the offender directly, or to find some kind of mediator to express themselves. It's very difficult.
Good morning.
Good morning, folks.
Morning.
My goodness.
you all are not short of type of people like Natasha, accomplished, resilient, it's amazing. One here in ignorance would want to think everybody in prison like that or what it is going on. If our best getting into prison, and then you ask yourself, how come a person like you got there, until you hear this story. But I didn't hear from the beginning. Well, of course, she was on death row, so that means she took life. Okay. But nonetheless, she has accomplished so much. And the first step towards to show what type of a people we are is forgiveness. And that is what we have to exercise now. But I also want to touch, if I'm allowed, on the young man who was there last week.
Week before, Andrew Douglas.
Andrew Douglas, yeah.
He went to was it last? What was week before?
Week
last
before.
week? Okay. He went to school at Downers there. What's the name of the school?
Tunapuna, the Green Machine.
St. Augustine.
St. Augustine.
Yes.
That's right. He went to the school there. I wanted to say something to him, but after I tried to get back in and couldn't. He is dealing with a lot of art, and that is so very good. But also I want him to take on something academic, because he spoke of when his story, a lot of times he mentioned he was good in school because the teachers still, whatever he did, otherwise the teacher would still forgive him and they would still take him back because of his grades and because of how intelligent he is, And to be in that school, after reflecting, to be in that school back in the day, that was a top #1 school. You had to have good marks and so on to get in there in the first place. So I would ask him, please, if he should try to do something academic, not to forget his art, but do something academic, something like law, anything like that.
Okay,
I'm so glad for this opportunity.
Thank you.
Natasha, you keep going guns there.
I
love
will.
you so much.
Thank
love
you, I
you,
love
my
you
dear.
too. Thanks.
Right. I know it. I know there are people who listening to you and they're hurting to hear people giving you this love. Because they still focus on what you did, but none of us are perfect, and you're not going to get that from us.
And she has been and is being punished by the virtue of the fact that she's in prison.
And if your heart is not clean and your mother's heart is not clean, God will know and God will decide. So, it's not our place to decide if your heart's clean or not. It's not our place to do that. We take one more because we have to wrap up. Remember, we have news coming up at 12. Hello, good morning.
Hi, good morning.
Morning.
Hi, Point 14 in the house. Natasha, good morning.
Good morning.
This is Jillian here.
Oh, Jillian.
I had the pleasure and the honor of not being in prison, but being there to host. I would usually host a carnival event. And I first came in contact with Natasha when she performed at the women's prison for the Calypso competition. And was Natasha and another young lady named Jay, I think it was Jay, I think it was Ramlal. And I was brought to tears because I know Natasha from childhood. So I was brought to tears, and when I saw Natasha performance, and then we had a conversation. She told me she was in the radio, she was doing so much. That was like 5 or 10 years back then. And this is going forward. And I'm sitting here, someone called me. Someone called me and they said, Natasha's on the radio. Quina called me and she said, Natasha's on the radio. And I said, okay, I'm going to listen. I'm sitting and I'm listening to all her accomplishments and, everything like that. And as the lady said, it's good to, you're asking for forgiveness, but if the family is willing to forgive, because, who am I? I'm only human.
Yes, all right. But thank you so much for calling for that. Don't worry, we're not done with them yet. We have a long journey with the prison, thankfully, in the next few weeks and months to come.
Keep flying the flag.
Yes, thanks a lot, all right? So, closing remarks, Mary, before you quickly, have a few seconds, tell us, your closing remarks.
My closing remarks to Trinidad and Tobago is put God first. Let go, let God. Put God first. That's all I would say.
Natasha?
Thank you all for listening to me, and I pray and trust that each and every one, especially for the youths, do not make the same mistakes that I have made. If your instinct tell it to run, run. Do what is right. You only have one life to live, and you live it God-fearingly and forgivingly. And try to rise to above every negative situation in life, whether it be rape, whether it be drugs, whatever you may encounter in life. Remember, it is not over. Have a blessed day, people.
You know, we are seeing, God, a lot of hate is taking place in our country. We are seeing we are losing a lot of our youths. As parents, as community, you know, neighbors, let's try to come together and work or help our youths, because we are seeing them going astray. It's really, really sad. And I mean, this is a story right in 17 years old, being incarcerated. So let's look out for our youths out there.
Yep. Sure. Well, yes, thank you again to the prison service, to the commissioner and the officers, for bringing Natasha out here. Thank you, Mary, for coming and supporting your daughter. We on Dependency, of course, we are committed to restorative justice and the principles therein. So we will do our part to make sure that members of the public can hear from the horse's mouth these stories and what people are actually experiencing, people behind bars.
And then to give us that encouragement too, we want to say to some magistrates out there, please, well, do better now. I know you all don't like to be criticized because you feel that you're above that, but you know, you're human, you could make mistakes and wrong choices, but help us here when we do this, that you extend it out there so that, again, that club where that little child got killed, even though it should not happen again. And take away people's license, suspend people's license, let them feel it where it hurts so that they protect our citizens when they visit their places of entertainment. That should never happen again, and an example should be set. But understand the club is open and everything is back to normal, drinking and being merry again.
Yep.
How are we to send messages if we continue to do that? If we give a young after police officer does all that work for a Chinese national to get bail, what are we saying to the others who are doing it? It's easy for them to get involved in it too. Let's send that message now and respect the work of the police officers. That's it for us, folks. We got to go. Major news up next at 12. See you then. Take care. Good night. Have a good day or a good weekend.